Thank you for joining me this evening. And I'm going to be reading from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 21, verse 34. And this is the Messiah speaking. And he says, "Take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life. And so that day come upon you unaware. For as a snare it shall come upon all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch, therefore, and pray always, that you may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man." Now, in this particular verse here, the Messiah, he's speaking about a time frame here, about that if someone was not paying attention, if someone was not, and of course he's talking about spiritually paying attention, about spiritual things. You know, the Messiah rebuked the Yahudim, or the Jews, when he was on the earth, because they didn't recognize the time of their visitation. And he scolded them and told them that they should have known the time frame of his coming forth. And they missed it because they weren't paying attention to the prophecies written by the prophets, especially the prophet Daniel, talking about the Messiah and his coming. And if they had paid attention and been looking for him, they would have known the day of his visitation. But they were caught unaware. They were not paying attention. In the same manner today that we're living in the end times. And there's so many people are not paying attention. And the reason they're not paying attention is because they're not paying attention to what the Scripture has to say about the time frame that we're now living in. It's going to come upon the world as a snare, just like he says. He says that if you allowed these things, that you would be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life. In other words, you're so involved in what's going on in your life, and being caught up in what's happening. One of the things that everybody in this country is sort of preoccupied with is that the election that's going on in another week or so. And everybody's preoccupied with all that. That's why I think we are, of course, living in a high rapture time frame, because the rapture is going to catch people unaware. It's going to catch those that aren't paying attention off guard. That's why he refers to it that it shall come upon them as a snare. You know, if an animal gets caught in a trap, he would not have gotten caught if he'd have been aware of that trap that was set for him. In the same way, people today are not paying attention to the time frame that we're living in. But he also encouraged those that if we would watch and pray always, that we might be accounted worthy to escape all the things that shall come to pass. And all the things he's talking about coming to pass are the things of the tribulation. The time frame that's we've talked about a number of times, being Daniel's 70th week, or Jacob's trouble. And this 7-year period of time frame that we're about to enter in. And the reason we know that is because all the signs of the things that are going to be going on during the tribulation are on the horizon. We can see parts of these things coming to pass right now. And so the Messiah told us, he said, when you see these things begin to come to pass, not after they come to pass, he said, when you see these things begin to come to pass, look up, for your redemption is drawing near. Now, the rapture is the redemption that he's speaking of. He is talking about the redemption of our bodies. That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about not only escaping the judgment that's going to come upon the earth. And for those people who make fun of the pre-tribulation and saying that we're going to have to go through the tribulation and so forth, just talking contrary to what the Messiah says here. He said that if we were counted worthy, that we would be able to escape the things that are come upon the earth. Now, I've taught you in many sessions that the only thing that makes anyone worthy to escape is to be born again. But if you're born again of the Ruach, of the Spirit, and and you have been saved because you put your faith and trust in the Messiah, you have His Spirit in you, then you are worthy to escape the things that are going to be coming upon this earth. And that's good news, especially in the time frame that we're living in with such great fear of what's going to happen. People are like I said, not paying attention. This describes the time frame that the Messiah talked about, as in the days of Noah and Lot, so shall it also be in the coming of the Son of Man. They were eating, drinking, marrying, and giving in marriage. In other words, he's describing, as I mentioned many times, an ordinary time frame. That's why I believe that we're living in such a high watch time frame of the rapture to happen any moment, simply because people aren't paying attention. They're preoccupied with so many things going on, and this fits a perfect scenario for the rapture to take place. Well, be encouraged if you are a believer, because our redemption is drawing near, and soon we shall be with our Mashiach, our Messiah. Shalom.